Welcome back to Talking Point. So we've brought in another ambassador, and of course, as I was mentioning, this is a week where we are focusing on women in politics, women in global positions that are, of course, going ahead and making an impact across the globe. So joining me now, I'd like to welcome the Turkiye Ambassador to South Africa, Nilvana Darama. Ambassador, Assalamu alaikum. Shukran so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
So, Nilvana, you've just started your position as the ambassador to South Africa. How's it been so far for you?
It's good. It's a very busy 8 months. Actually, it's been 8 months so far because of South Africa's G20 presidency.
Yes.
It's a lot of dynamisms. We are hosting high-level delegations from Turkey. Also, bilaterally now, we are having a very busy agenda, which I'm very happy for. So I'm looking forward to the end of the South African presidency with big success in November when we host our leaders here in Johannesburg.
Definitely. And we're going to be touching on G20 and just how women have played such a huge role from a global perspective. But I want to touch on the stat over here. So as of last year, women had held 23.4% of all ambassadorial and permanent representative positions globally. In Nilvana Darama's perspective, how do you see women playing a role from a global perspective?
Women is very dynamic in all sectors and in all walks of life. Women ambassadors, women doctors, female diplomats, female leaders now, a lot of more and more of them, female parliamentarians, and they play prominent role in global diplomacy. They are taking part in initiatives and efforts against global challenges, regional challenges. Women have this soft touch. They are more constructive, they are more forthcoming, and they are pragmatic. So they are creative too. So they bring a lot of innovative solutions in debates to address global issues and regional problems. Also constructively, they play a role in developing relations between nations. They are in science, they are in technology. So they are everywhere, and they are bringing a lot of productive results.
You know, South Africa has a great history when it comes to women. Of course, the reason why we honor Women's Day on the 9th of August is because women who marched to the union buildings to demand the rights of women, especially women who were at the time previously disadvantaged, to say, we want to have our voice. What have you learned from the South African women so far that is inspiring you at this moment?
South African women are strong, and apparently that's a tradition. That's not new. They played important role in your democratic struggle and the South Africa's development agenda. They are also everywhere. I know my counterparts in the Department of International Relations and Cooperation. They are in trade. They are business leaders. They're everywhere in South Africa, and they are successful. They are very good role model for future generations and for the rest of the world, particularly for women who are not very fortunate at the beginning of their lives, but when they are given opportunities, they use their intelligence and they are smart, and they put effort into their country's improvement, progress, and again, democratization in many parts of the world under conflict situations. South African women are a very good model for all around the world in their struggle to become more prominent in life and also to contribute to their country's economies, their country's politics, their country's struggle for democracy, again, for development. So I actually very much appreciate South African women and their contributions to politics and economy and life.
I was speaking to Ambassador Hanan Jarrah earlier on, and obviously as a Palestinian woman, she was speaking about her relationship with Dr. Naledi Pandor. I don't know if you've had an interaction with Dr. Naledi Pandor, but if you have, just talk to us about, because she's seen right now as the strength of South African women at this very moment. She, of course, led South Africa in that ICJ case against Israel. What is your view on her as a female that has made an impact globally?
She is very strong, as you have said, and impressive. She has a vision. She's a strong character. My first encounter with her was about maybe 2 years ago. I wasn't appointed to South Africa. I didn't even know about it. I participated in an international meeting, a foreign ministerial level meeting in Sri Lanka. That was an IORA meeting, and Lady Pandor was representing South Africa. And her statement was so powerful, inspiring, and she was, teaching a lesson. Particularly to the developed world, saying that, you have responsibility and you have to make the right steps to help other nations and also to address crisis situations and to make your homework better. She was so strong and so direct, and I admired her at that speech. And after 2 years, I found myself in her country, listening more of her wisdom and more of her guidance and leadership. And actually, you must be very proud to have such a strong lady in politics and in South Africa's societal life.
And I think it's not only Dr. Pandor, it's the women that were before us, the Rahima Musas, the Charlotte Maxtekes, the Sisulus of this world, the Winnie Mandelas of this world. They are our true heroines, and I think South Africa is blessed to have the great females. There's so many names to mention that have really inspired us as South Africans today. Ambassador, you've been in the international relations spectrum for a very long time, for as long as I can remember. Women within the foreign affairs, international relations perspective, where are we in terms of that? How important are women in making sure they get into an industry which has been previously dominated by men? Your take on that?
Unfortunately, it's still a male-dominated area, but it's changing because new generations, they are following the steps of all those prominent women, pioneers of women's advancement, women's empowerment. So they are following the steps, and they have more opportunities to express themselves. I can give you an example from my own foreign service. Now, when I entered the ministry in 1990, half of my generation, they were female candidates. So that's now a position. Those people like me, those lady diplomats, they have now become ambassadors, director generals. They have more to say in our ministries and in my country's foreign policy making. And they are also opening the route for the generations to come. Now, more and more young graduates from universities, girls, they now want to become diplomats because they are aware that there is the opportunity that they can succeed and they can become ambassadors, they can have a say in the country's politics, world politics. So this is a good model for them.
After the break, I continue my conversation with Ambassador. Well, we'll wrap up, I beg your pardon, the conversation with Ambassador Nilvana Darama. We are honoring women in politics, women in the diplomatic fields, and this, of course, as we look ahead to Women's Day on Saturday. Do stay tuned. Welcome back to Talking Point. I'm conversation with Ambassador Nilvana Darama. She's, of course, the ambassador of Turkiye to South Africa. Ambassador, again, shukran so much for staying with us here. Ambassador, South Africa and Turkiye has a history dating back to 1993, even before, of course, South Africa had achieved its democracy. Right now, as you being the ambassador, how do you see South Africa's, the relationship between Pretoria and Ankara, and the strength of this relationship?
We have very cordial and constructive relations, and there is a strong will on the part of both sides to take these relations even further and to improve our cooperations in all areas. And our particular focus, of course, is trade and economy. But there are many other areas. We want to increase the interaction between our societies. More and more South African students now are participating Turkish education system. They are going universities in Turkey. Reciprocal tourist flow is increasing. Turkey is among one of the top destinations for South Africans. And from Turkey also we are hosting a lot of people to discover the beauties and culture and traditions of your country. But I believe economically we are not benefiting from the full potential that our countries offer. So we want to make further interaction also between business people.
Sure.
We are having high-level contacts and the frequency is increasing. Just yesterday we had bilateral political consultations here in Pretoria. We mentioned many areas of cooperation and we're hoping to move things even more forward in the coming months. So we're working very hard together with my South African counterparts to improve the agenda, to diversify the areas of cooperation from economy to defense industry and political dialogue, of course, is very important. We want to cooperate also on multilateral fora, like you have suggested, the Palestinian issue. That's very dear to our hearts, and we have similar positions with South Africa, very firm stance against the play of Palestinians, and we want to coordinate our positions also at multilateral fora, not only on Palestinian issues, but many of the regional and global challenges, including climate change and irregular migrations and all that.
I want to touch on climate change. You've brought it up. Women are also leading the role. I mean, Greta Thunberg, I mean, at the time she was a teenager, and when you look now, 6 years on, she's leading. She was, of course, part of the Madeleine boat, the flotilla that, of course, sailed to Gaza. Women are also leading a role on climate change, aren't they? But it's not just climate change; it's on all aspects, in economics, in social services, and there's a touch to a woman that maybe a man does not have. I was speaking to Ambassador Hanan, and she said, "A woman is a mother." I'm so grateful my mother's alive, because I see that even now, as a full-grown adult, my mother, the warmth of my mother, you still feel it. That's something you feel, isn't it, Ambassador? That you're not just a female representative, but you have a mother's touch, which is something, unfortunately, and we must put it bluntly out there, a man really doesn't have.
No, but you see, I come from a family of strong female tradition.
Sure.
Again, my grandmother's mother, my grandmother, my mother, and they pass it on from generation to generation. They raise their children to be able to stand, particularly if they're girl children, to be able to stand on their own feet, to struggle for their own life and to support themselves if they don't have any support from outside particularly. So that's something very good, that mothers raise their children as strong and participatory individuals, and to give them the awareness, to the power, to the vision to take care their own lives and also to take the agenda of their countries further.
Ambassador, G20 is about to obviously come here, the Leaders Summit, and of course President Erdogan will of course be visiting South Africa shores also. I mean, what role do women have to play in global politics? We have the African Union here, and Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma, she chaired the African Union for a period of time. When you see women and what they can contribute, how do you view that at this moment?
Well, as we have just discussed, women are in leadership role in many areas, and also among the G20, we have leaders at ministerial levels, parliamentary levels, and also leaders level. Women has a softer touch. Women have a more constructive approach, and they're open to communication, and they're good negotiators. So I'm only hoping that the G20 presidency of South Africa, with all these very important, very significant themes for the global challenges, to address global challenges, and also to take African agenda forward, I think with the presence of women, that will conclude well. Hopefully, they will agree to pursue these development goals, these social objectives, and also economic targets. And they will be able to take forward. I am only hoping that this leadership summit will be a success, because I know that how successfully South Africa conducts the meetings and the agenda. And already last week in, where were we? In Cape last week in George,
Yes, okay.
when we had the labor ministers, there was a very strong declaration. So we're only hoping that the agenda will move forward with further agreement, and that will also help address regional and global challenges more.
Ambassador, a lot of what, when you listen to female activists and those who are, calling for equality for females to the ratio of males, a lot of it is the discussion with regards to that, and the G20. Many of them would hope for that to be addressed. What would you like to see, Ambassador, from the equality perspective, that females have a greater share in the decision making on global affairs? What would you like to see, Ambassador?
Women have to claim their parts. Women are as qualified as their male competitors, male counterparts, and male partners. But they need to trust their abilities. They need to claim for their rightful role in leadership positions or in all parts of the community, in all sectors of the community. And men should help them. Men should support them. When I participate in events on women empowerment, when I see male participants I am more encouraged and hopeful that this target of having women in playing more role in society and in leadership roles will be sooner, because male counterparts and male partners are there to support them.
And that's what I wanted to ask, Ambassador. I mean, how much of a role do we as males have to assist in trying to make sure that we see our sisters, our wives, our mothers have that same opportunities that we have?
It starts in the family. First and foremost, you must encourage your own sisters, your own daughters to finish their education, to aspire for more in life, to succeed more, to trust themselves, to trust their abilities, to improve their qualities, to compete, to apply for positions, not to shy away from demanding their rights, and not to shy away from competing with their male competitors. And you have to help them to break those stereotypes, because there are a lot of stereotypes in the society that the role of women is in home and they have to raise their children. No, that's not the case. Women can become mother, and women can also participate in the
yes.
community. Women are human resources. They're part of the human resources the country
Exactly.
has. And if you just exclude them from employment, from economy, from politics, then you're not using the full capacity of your human resources. So that is the worst thing you can do
Yes.
to your country.
Ambassador, one final question. There's many young people watching this broadcast. There's many young people that want to get involved in international relations, become a diplomat. What would be your recommendations to them, pros and cons, when entering a very difficult but rewarding field once you're in it?
You have just said it's very difficult, but then equally rewarding. You know, the satisfaction of representing one's own country, one's own country's values, one's own people, you cannot find it in anything else in life. Becoming a diplomat was my childhood dream. And if I come to this world again, that's what I would love to do again.
Sure.
So I tell them that this is not an easy life. There are a lot of challenges. They have to work very hard. Sometimes they have to sacrifice, particularly from their family lives. But if they see themselves fit for this position, they should go for it. And they should contribute to their country's representation in most possible, in most honorable and constructive way.
Ambassador, absolute pleasure having you, and shukran so much for joining
Thank
us.
you very much
Assalamu
for
alaikum.
inviting me.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
That's
Thank you.
Ambassador Nilvana Darama, the Ambassador of Turkiye to South Africa. Well, that's how we wrap up Talking Point. We are back with News in Focus tomorrow as we continue the discussion on women in politics. From myself, Faraz Patel, and the rest of the team in Johannesburg. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.